Fever down! Bow, bow, bow!
Man, I think it's the next step up mentality as far as players. Our shifts keep changing. Everybody doing a different role, and so I think we all got the mentality where you give and you sacrifice, and I think that's what y'all see.
The Indiana Fever were supposed to be dead in the water, walking into their own funeral. Without their generational superstar Caitlin Clark, and still stinging from a humiliating loss where they looked utterly dysfunctional, they were entering an arena packed with over 20,497 hostile fans, ready to watch them get dismantled. The script was already written. Everything pointed to a complete and utter disaster, a public execution that would serve as a brutal confirmation of what everyone suspected. This team was nothing without its star player. The Vultures were circling, but what happened over the next 48 minutes will change how you see this team, this league, and the very nature of Heart Forever. And what Aliyah Boston said after the game, 6 simple, powerful words, revealed the birth of an identity forged in fire.
Every little thing matters.
Mitchell gives it up. Natasha Howard, beautiful shot. Howard with a double-double of 12 and 11. Indiana by 6.
Incoming! In! Yo, great job. Okay, great job. We weathered a storm. We found some toughness in the fourth quarter to be able to get stops and to execute, right? We grew tonight. I mean, it really, everybody just good stuff, okay? Good stuff all around. It's a big-time win for us on a back-to-back at the end of a tough road trip, so good stuff.
Hey, one more. Coach's 100th.
Yeah! All right, let's go. Here we go. Together, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
This was billed as the game of the year, the single most anticipated matchup the WNBA had seen in a decade, a moment that had been circled on calendars since the night of the draft. It was the first professional showdown between Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers, the #1 pick from 2024 against the consensus top pick for 2025. This wasn't just another regular season game, it was a glimpse into the future of basketball itself, a battle between two transcendent talents destined to define the next era. The hype was so astronomical that the Dallas Wings made a franchise-altering decision. They moved the game from their traditional home at College Park Center to the colossal American Airlines Center, the 20,000-seat fortress where the NBA's Dallas Mavericks play. You don't make a financial and logistical gamble like that unless you're expecting to witness history. Tickets were being scalped for hundreds of dollars, social media was an inferno of debate and excitement, and this was positioned as the night that would shatter attendance records and prove to the world, once and for all, just how powerful women's basketball had become.
There were a lot of Fever fans today at the game. What does it mean to you to just have their presence with you wherever you go?
Every game is a home game. I think you see that. People show up, they show out. I think it's great for this league, just people continuing to come to games and watch, because I think when people show up to watch a game, they might have came for one person, but they leave liking many more. And so I think that's the way you look at it, right? You've had this arena that's filled and people are coming in, they're like, whoa, I like her, she's tough. And so I think it's just great for the game.
Likewise, I take pride in wanting to see people I've never seen before. So when you see different players that you admire and they want to support us, it's kind of like, oh man, they actually take heed to what we do and what we bring to the table as a league. Like she said, you kind of appreciate the fact that people want to watch us play, and it kind of brings confidence to the game, so to speak. So it's a really good thing.
Then, just 2 days before the epic showdown, the unthinkable happened. It was a gut punch that echoed through the sports world. News broke that Clark's nagging groin injury had flared up again, forcing her to sit out. The most anticipated matchup of the season was suddenly a giant gaping hole. For the thousands of fans who had bought tickets specifically to witness this clash of titans, it was a moment of deep disappointment. But for the Indiana Fever, it was something far worse. It felt like a potential death sentence. The night before, they had been systematically destroyed by the Los Angeles Sparks. Without Clark on the floor to orchestrate the offense, the team's identity vanished. The lightning-fast pace that was their greatest weapon slowed to a pedestrian crawl. The crisp, beautiful ball movement that created open shots devolved into stagnant one-on-one basketball. Aliyah Boston, their all-star center and former #1 pick, was rendered a non-factor, starved of touches and stranded in a clogged-up offense. Everything that made Indiana a dangerous, exciting team just fell apart. They looked predictable, lost, and painfully easy to defend. The Dallas Wings had been watching. They had the blueprint for the Fever's destruction, and they were ready to execute it. The plan was simple: suffocate Kelsey Mitchell, clog the paint to neutralize Boston, and let the wounded Fever implode under the pressure of a record-breaking home crowd.
Likewise, I take pride in wanting to see people I've never seen before. So when you see different players that you admire and they want to support us, it's kind of like, oh man, they actually take heed to what we do and what we bring to the table as a league. Like she said, you kind of like appreciate the fact that people want to watch us play, and it kind of brings confidence to the game, so to speak. So it's a really good thing.
Did you kind of feel a sense of urgency there that the team responded to, I guess?
Great use of the word urgency. That's honestly been the topic of conversation for us, is making sure that we have a sense of urgency on the offensive end, on the defensive end. And once again, leads did slip away in this game and last game, but for us it's about making sure that we turn that page, we get back the lead, we keep it, we get big defensive stops. And you understand, and once again, it's a game of runs, and you just have to make sure that you have the best one at the end. Yeah, I think for us, it's about knowing that basketball is a game of runs. And they made their run in that third quarter. And honestly, just continue to stay composed and take it each possession at a time is something that we've been working on. And so for us, that was our focus, is get a stop, go down and score, get another stop, and we try to get a kill.
But instead of crumbling under the immense weight of expectation and adversity, the Fever came out with a shocking, explosive energy that nobody, least of all Dallas, saw coming. Coach Christy Sides made a brilliant, surprise strategic move, starting Ari McDonald at point guard for the very first time. From the opening tip, McDonald played like her hair was on fire, igniting a firestorm that the Wings were completely unprepared for. She pushed the pace with a relentless ferocity, attacking the rim and putting immediate pressure on the Dallas defense. The Wings had meticulously game planned to shut down a predictable half-court offense. They had absolutely no answer for McDonald's relentless downhill assault. She sliced through their defense, creating complete and utter chaos, opening up passing lanes that hadn't existed all season, and finding her teammates for one easy look after another. The result was pure, unadulterated basketball perfection. The Fever started the game by making their first 7 shots in a row. It was flawless, beautiful, and defiant. This wasn't a team just surviving without its star. This was a team that was thriving, playing with a joy and freedom that was infectious. By the end of the first quarter, Indiana was leading by an unbelievable jaw-dropping margin of 33-13. They had outscored the heavily favored Wings by 20 points in just 12 minutes, leaving the massive Dallas crowd stunned into an eerie silence, which soon turned into scattered, respectful applause for the sheer quality of basketball they were witnessing from the underdog visitors.
Finding out this morning that we probably need to hold out again today. It really is a day-to-day thing. And I think for us, making sure that we're prioritizing her long-term health and wellness. It's anybody who's had some of these types of injuries understand that sometimes it's a process. She's a quick healer, and she's been doing everything that she can to get back on the floor. So, we just want to make sure that we're hypersensitive to the big picture. I feel a disappointment for them more than anything, because you want them to see her at her best and us at our best. I hate that for fans, but at the same time, again for us as a team, and for Caitlin as a person and player, her health and wellness is the priority.
Just when it looked like the game was turning into one of the most shocking blowouts of the season, the tide began to turn dramatically. The Dallas Wings weren't going down without a fight in their own building, and Paige Bueckers decided to put on an absolute masterclass. She began to dissect the Fever's defense with the surgical precision of a grandmaster, scoring from every level of the court, hitting impossible shots, and putting her teammates in perfect positions to succeed. Bueckers finished the game with a staggering 27 points, 5 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks, all while committing 0 turnovers. It was a statistical marvel. In doing so, she became the first player in the entire history of the WNBA to post that specific perfect stat line. It was a legendary performance. Fueled by their brilliant star, the Wings mounted a furious, inevitable comeback. The Fever's massive 20-point lead started to shrink, possession by agonizing possession. The Dallas crowd, once silenced, came roaring back to life, creating a deafening wall of sound, and that familiar, creeping sense of panic began to set in. For Fever fans watching around the world, this felt like a recurring nightmare. This is exactly where the team was supposed to fall apart, where the absence of Clark would finally be felt, and where their storybook start would curdle into another heartbreaking collapse. The lead was gone. The moment of truth had arrived.
I think the biggest thing for us is our attention to detail in our screening. We've got to be great screeners. We got to make sure we slow down and use our screen and our spacing. We've had some games where our spacing has been poor, and that has not allowed Kelsey to get downhill, and it hasn't allowed space for Aliyah to get going either. So I think that the two most important things for us right now offensively is attention to detail and screening and spacing. We'll start Ari today. We'll start her and bring Sid off the bench a little bit. I don't want to take Kelsey out of what she naturally does instinctually on the wing and overload her from a point guard perspective. So with having Ari and having Sid, they'll give us a couple different looks right there.
But with the game hanging in the balance and all the momentum slipping away, Kelsey Mitchell refused to let her team lose. She became the eye of the storm. She went into complete takeover mode, hitting a series of clutch, soul-crushing shots that silenced the roaring Dallas crowd and steadied her team's wavering nerves. Every time the Wings landed a punch, Mitchell hit back harder. She dropped an incredible 32 points with an equally impressive 7 assists, making 11 of her 17 shots from the field in a display of veteran leadership. But it wasn't just her gaudy scoring numbers, it was the sheer intelligence and force of will she displayed. She wasn't forcing bad looks or trying to be a one-woman hero. She was making the right play every single time down the floor. She knew when to attack the rim, when to pull up for a devastating 3, and when to find an open teammate. She was a calming force of nature, a leader who took absolute control of the offense and kept her team composed when everything was threatening to unravel around them.
Charles can't finish.
Gotta finish that.
Oh, beautiful pass. McDonald counted in 1.
Run.
Can't finish.
It's a big, you gotta lean in. You can't be falling away.
McDonald has been outstanding, shooting to open the game. The Wings are only 2 of 14. Howard lobs it inside Boston, and Maisha Hines-Allen got lost. Allowed for the easy 2.
And you down to Natasha, and she's going to get in the paint. And so the defense has to step up to protect the drive, and now she puts that air on the ball, and AB is able to finish that shot at the rim. That was beautiful.
While Mitchell was putting on a scoring masterclass that would make any superstar in the league proud, Aliyah Boston became the anchor that held everything together. In the game's most critical and high-pressure moments, she was an absolute force of nature. She was the unsung hero doing the dirty work. She made huge, momentum-swinging defensive stops when the team desperately needed them. She battled for every loose ball and grabbed crucial rebounds that kept offensive possessions alive. And she scored with a ruthless, quiet efficiency in the paint, refusing to be denied by bigger defenders. Boston finished with 21 points on an efficient 9 of 14 shooting, but her true impact went far beyond the box score. She was doing all the tough, gritty, unglamorous work that championship teams are built on. In the final breathtaking minutes, she and Mitchell formed a perfect, unstoppable inside-out duo that Dallas simply couldn't stop. They traded blows with the Wings in a sequence that felt like the final round of a heavyweight championship fight, ultimately securing a breathtaking 94-86 victory that nobody outside of their own locker room believed was possible.
Paige is just such a smart player. She reads defensive well. She knows how to pick you apart. And so when you play against her, you have to make sure that you're aware of where she is at all times. And also she does a great job of putting her teammates in great position. So for us, I feel like it's kind of similar in college and in the league. Like Paige is just playing great basketball and making sure that she sets up her teammates for the same.
After the game, as reporters swarmed the court, scrambling to make sense of what had just happened, they asked Aliyah Boston about playing in front of such a massive hostile crowd on the road and pulling off the impossible. Boston looked straight into the camera, a calm, unwavering confidence in her eyes, and delivered the 6 words that perfectly captured the spirit of the night, the identity of her team, and the power of their growing movement. She said, "Every game is a home game." She went on to explain that it doesn't matter what city they're in, what arena they play in, or who the odds are stacked against. Fever fans show up, they travel across the country, they fill opposing arenas with their jerseys, and they bring a palpable energy that fuels the entire team. She talked talked about how fans might initially come to a game to see one player, but they leave having fallen in love with the whole team. The grit, the heart, the resilience, the unity. Those 20,000 or 97 people in Dallas came expecting to see Clark versus Bookers, but they left having witnessed something far more profound, the birth of a team's true unbreakable soul. This victory was so much more than just another tally in the standings. It was the moment the Indiana Fever proved to the world, and more importantly to themselves, that they possess a championship-level heart. On a night when they should have been broken and exposed, they forged a new identity, one built on collective toughness, shared responsibility, and the unwavering belief that they are never, ever out of the fight. This win pushed them to an 8-8 record, securing them 3rd place in the Eastern Conference. Now, with Caitlin Clark set to return to a team that just proved it can win on the biggest stage without her, the Fever are no longer just a fun story or a team on the rise. They are one of the most dangerous, complete, and mentally tough teams in the entire league, and they just put everyone else on notice.